Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn, and today we are checking out Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening. Now, one of the things I didn't know until unrelated to this video, Nobunaga's Ambition has been around for a really long time. This is a very old franchise. I was looking up like some of the oldest franchises in existence. I was specifically looking for RPGs, but Nobunaga's Ambition came up because these have been around since like the 80s. Tons of these games. Well, there's not a whole... Anyway, moving on. And I honestly still don't even really know what these games are, because when I was looking at screenshots of things when I was getting this video together, it just looked like Civilization to me, but it's also tagged as like an RTS game, like a strategy game, like I'm like Command and Conquer, but I didn't immediately see any pictures of like commanding your army. I saw like 4K style gameplay, think like Civilization or Stellaris. And, like, does that mean that it's kind of like Total War, where you got both things going on, of, like, you got the grand strategy stuff going on the surface, but you have smaller skirmish battles with a bunch of units? Don't know, but we're about to find out in one way or another. There's a lot of marketing for this game. It's just a heads up. Like, we're going to be here for a hot minute, because there's, like, 6 trailers, and all of them are, like, 3 minutes long, so strap in. So here's the initial announcement trailer. '40th anniversary commemorative title. Told you, been around a while. Oh shit. See how that title just appeared? Over 2,200 AI officers. I don't know what that means. Is that like different possible factions? Or like leaders, kind of like in Civilization, where you can have like, you know, Genghis Khan against Lincoln. Oh, my microphone is trying to escape.
I am indebted.
It's a very big, like I said, Civilization vibes with like the political balance that you're going on back and forth here. Battle. Oh, we got lots of frame rate there. Okay, so there are like soldier battles. Why do I never hear much about this series? There's like 27 games over the last 40 years. Is it just that they weren't localized for a really long time? Like, were they just in Japan and only in Japan for like 35 of those 40 years? Never localized. Okay. Because I was gonna say, with the sheer success of Civilization and the Total War series, like, I wouldn't understand initially why this game wouldn't be right alongside them, unless it just literally wasn't an option. Like, which that explains a whole lot. So it's going to be on Steam, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. Now, one of the things that threw me off also when I was preparing this video is that this game has already been out in Japan for over a year. It released in Japan on July 20th of 2022, even on Steam. So you can buy it right now on Steam, but it will not have English in it. Or actually, I think they've now just changed it to the pre-order side of things. But yeah, the actual English version does, what other languages in there? Chinese, will not be available until July 20th of this year instead of July 20th of last year, which is throwing me off something fierce. Okay, so here's the system intro video for Dominion. So we're going on a very heavy crash course of how this game operates. Even in 2010s, there was only like 3 or 4 games translated. One of which was a Pokemon game crossover. What? Invade enemy castles and acquire more land. Grant retainers dominion of the land according to their abilities. I find it really entertaining that the last video was in English. This like had English voice work in it. This one does not. So it doesn't look like you always have to do the battles. I guess you don't in Total War either. Civilization just doesn't have the actual, like, RTS strategic battles, right? Nor does Stellaris. It's all from, like, the 4K, like, world view screen. That's definitely been something that's more in Total War's wheelhouse for a really long time. Of where you got the 4K side of things, but then you can also go into the RTS maps. But Total War also lets you auto-resolve them. This one goes even deeper of, like, you have a country that your retainer is leading, and then there's different, like, I'm just going to call them counties, or provinces, or whatever you want to call them, that exist within that region. So it goes, like, really in-depth then. Pokemon Conquest? Sounds vaguely familiar. There's been a lot of Pokemon games too, though. Okay, so this is the Daimyo and Retainers system intro video.
Would that be acceptable?
Back to English. Direct talks will occur in a variety of situations, including employment, extraction, and diplomacy.
I am yours to command. Would that be acceptable?
Avoiding absconders, negotiate with officers to keep them in your clan. I wonder what the AI is like. Because they said that they have 2,200 AI officers, right? Which is what all of these individuals that you're, like, negotiating stuff with. I wonder how good it is. Because a lot of the times with these 4K games, especially if I make the comparison of, like, Civilization or Total War, as I have been through a lot of this video, the AI can be dumb. You can so easily manipulate the AI without even needing to know, like, any weird back-end secrets of the game or anything like that. You can just, like, appease them with sometimes the smallest, like, pathetic little offerings. And then sometimes they'll come to, like, they'll be just completely have no hope of winning against you. And they're like, you better give me 3,000 gold or I'm going to declare war on you. And you're like, you have 1 province. You need to calm down. No. And then they do. And you're like, all right, fine. Well, now I'm just going to just command you in a way that you do not enjoy because now I just own you instead of being an ally next to you.
Tear through their ranks. I'm in your debt. Success! The enemy horde has emerged. my thanks. I am indebted.
Province war tactics. Expand your tactics through cooperation between daimyo and officer provinces. Will depend by the regent's ability, which is different from your ability. Base of the province war tactics.
I will take care of it. I shall do all that I can.
There's a lot happening here.
Please leave this to me.
I wish to speak with you. It'll be finished before you know it.
So you got different approaches to battle in order to being able to like attack with different styles, different reinforcements. Pre-purchase for some bonuses. Okay, what do we got next? System introduction video submission. Oh my. Officers that can think and officers that can think and suggest submission and advice. Okay. Retainers make judgments based on the clan situation and propose their ideas as a submission. Okay.
ちとお耳を拝借任されましたぞ我が主がため力を尽くす申し上げたし遂行いたします
So this is just showing us more. Jesus. This is showing us more of the officer's abilities. But they still kind of function into the stuff that they already showed us. What is happening with my chat? It keeps on like popping up and then disappearing. Proposal range from domestic and military to foreign affairs. It's important to assess the situation to decide which proposal to prioritize. Seems very similar to what you were just talking about. Okay. What's the next one we have? We could still have 3 left. March is this system intro video. Like marching to battle? Yes. That is exactly correct. Hoping this gives us a better glimpse at actual battle. Because we've seen some shots of what looks like a bunch of soldiers on the battlefield, but not necessarily a whole lot happening on them. See, and those guys are fighting right there, but they just kind of auto-resolved. Still haven't seen really any of those shots that I was talking about, right?
Yoshi.
Because we did see a couple of shots of like on a battlefield with like different soldiers running about and stuff. And these are all like how you attack things and like how you can gain different advantages or disadvantages and your options when assaulting people on a road or versus you're attacking a castle or laying siege to a fortress. Battles in which large units clash. When a daimyo also joins the battle, a special battle where you're able to get... Okay, here's the answer. Two armies will clash at posts scattered across the camp. So are these slower going battles then? Okay, so they're not really quite as in-depth as RTS games are, right? Because while you are able to control the armies, they have very defined routes that they were able to go past, and that's where your like tactics come from on if you're able to flank around or what abilities you have based on the terrain on those specific battles. But with those daimyo battles, like they are not quite the idea of like Total War is, right? Where you're commanding an army and individual platoons and stuff in that army on just kind of like an open source battlefield. Very different in that stake. Okay, so these are sieges and event battles. They already talked about sieges and event battles a little bit, so I'm curious in what way this is different. Okay, that does look different though. Grand battle. Oh wait, no, go back. I needed to read that because I need context here. Grand battles take place in the main base and defensive bases. Intense offensive and defensive battles can take place in the castle's town. Each castle will have a unique battlefield of its own. It looks like you still got some pretty determined pathways though, right? Like this is, you can't just like weave your way through the buildings. You have to essentially like follow like the roads. If you get their morale to 0, you win. There's a lot of things happening in this game. You march in from multiple locations, you get extra troops, your troops can pour in from different areas around the city, because you can only advance on the city from the direction that your troops came in from. And then it goes back into the debate of what your retainers want, what your officers want. How much does it help versus hinder? Does it make them happier?
Get in my way. A test of courage awaits. If you've the metal, come! We're joining the battle.
It is cool though. They're talking about the different historical battles that you can take place in here, because like Nobunaga's ambition, as stated at the very beginning of all these, it is based off of Oda Nobunaga and his attempt to unify Japan, which he was unsuccessful in due to him not living long enough to see it through. But there is a lot of historical information on that point in time, and so they are able to like put in those historical markers in there. All right, so this is the last trailer. This is just the overview trailer, but this is for the PlayStation version, so we'll see if there's a whole lot that's different in here. Part of me thinks that it might feel very similar to the first one. That's very different starting out, so
enter discussions?
Sekiro sure looks different.
Well negotiated. Very good. I've no qualms.
We've toppled their castle! I couldn't dream of a happiness greater than this. I will do everything in my power for my lord. We're taking the enemy castle!
I have a terrific idea.
We'll not waste this chance!
He looks very similar to the Neo version. Nobunaga does, yeah. He looks exactly like the one from Neo, which was making me wonder, like, I didn't voice it until this point, because I was like, man, do we know what Oda Nobunaga, like, actually looked like, right? Because I don't know. I've not looked into it. I don't know if there's any, like, official portrait paintings or anything like that of Nobunaga that exist or survived the era, so that we know, like, yes, this is what he looked like. This was a you know, portrait done of him when he was still alive in, you know, at this point of his career.
I shall see it done.
Or if the general appearance of him, because he always kind of looks like that, right? Like, in a lot of the games, he always kind of looks like that whenever we see him appear. And so it makes me wonder if that's just like the accepted appearance of him. Like, this is what he was described as. And so the appearance of him is kind of, you know, like mirrored across a lot of things. This overview trailer is significantly better than all of the other ones. The other ones are really good for information, but this one is really good for, like, trying to drum up interest, but this is also them trying to get you to buy it on PlayStation and stuff rather than just explaining the game. Showing a lot of different parts of it without giving anything too much time or too much attention. This is a really cool shot. Like, that was cool looking. Cool. All right, so that is Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening. If you want an introduction to a very long-running franchise, it is going to run you the full $60, though. It's just a heads up. But as we talked about, this franchise is old. I am not joking. There are tons and tons and tons of these. Now, unless you speak Japanese, you will not be able to play most of them, but they've been around for 41 years now. So there's not a shortage of them. Because I was kind of looking at, like, what would be a fun, like, legacy type franchise to look into. Not this one. But that's really cool. And I do wonder what the landscape would be like if Nobunaga's Ambition was more widely available throughout its lifespan. Because, like I said, things like Total War and Civilization, they have a very large and very successful following and have for a very long time. And this, on the look that we're taking here, would have been a really fantastic competitor to them. And maybe it now will start to be, in terms of, like, if it does get its footing to where, like, this is a full feature game that is full price and is trying to be, like, a genuine player in the space, that could drastically change things up. Because, like, for the most part, the other games that I've mentioned, they are different enough from one another that not a whole lot of things compete with them, so they don't always change very much. Like, the Total War games, outside of Total War Warhammer, which is very different, relatively speaking, from the other Total War games, they're all very, very similar in a lot of ways. Just different settings with different characters, right? Same with Civilization. Civilization has enjoyed basically unchecked success since its inception. And games that are like it generally go with something that is apart from civilization to not compete with civilization, such as like Stellaris, like I mentioned earlier, and it's all up in space and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see how this lands. It does currently have some reviews on Steam, actually, so we can see how it was received in Japan. Of 1,174 reviews, 73% are positive. This person just says, wait for the power-up edition. This game is a hot AI mess. The AI is too stupid for a game which manage mechanics around relying on the AI to do the heavy work. That's unfortunate. I do wonder. Wow, 190 hours on record. Good work, person. I mean, with games like Civilization and stuff like that, it's so easy to do just one more turn. But it doesn't look like it's being received too poorly, but it definitely looks like there might be some issues with the AI. But who knows? That person could have just been upset. That was only like 3 people's opinions. So anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. Are you a fan of 4K games like all of the ones that I've repeated multiple times throughout this video? Are you thinking about checking this out? If you're your first time kind of being introduced to this genre, how do you feel about it? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. If you can't tell, I like to talk, and I'd love to talk some more if you want to talk with me. A couple great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. I am now also on Threads and Blue Sky, so pick your poison when it comes to vertically scrolling text-based social media apps. I'm on all of them. We'll see which one wins when all of this stuff shakes out, right? But otherwise, this video was recorded live on stream, and if you want to join us, I would love to see you there. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel to watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.